Hello you chosen and dead and ashen ones, and welcome to today's video. So this is just a little showcase that I've put together of some of the Dark Souls dioramas that I've done in the past. So this one you see here is actually one of the first ones. This is one that my partner did. You'll know him as the Dino Lord if you've come from the main channel. And this was all inspired by the Dark Souls board game. So we got the board game, we got all the little models, we started painting them up, and then we just thought, oh, we could kind of do it somewhere for them to live. So you see that wheel there on that cart? It all started with that. He just decided one day, I'm going to make a little wheel and pop it next to him. And then it spiraled into a cart, and then he just ended up making this massive diorama. So he made this bridge out of like lollipop sticks and then used some string to like tie them together and stuff, and I absolutely love it. And so at this point we didn't know about like epoxy resin and Liquitex and Mod Podge, so he wanted a river and he used some hot glue. He'd actually painted the surface underneath in a blue and then used hot glue. And considering this was his first time and the hot glue dries a bit hazy, I think this looks proper cool. So we had some like stones and rocks and stuff that we got from a model shop that was local to us. And the guy there told us about the dry brushing technique and he taught us a couple of other bits. So we bought some supplies and then we just had a hell of a lot of fun. And so while he was doing that diorama, I was working on my own. And you can see we've used cardboard for the base. And so it's like come apart where it's been wet with glue and stuff because we didn't really know what we were doing at this point. It was just our first tries. So this is one I've made. So I put up a couple blood stains on the floor where, you know, deaths would have happened. And I've made like this standing fireplace and some fences, and then I've gone on to make this tower, which I used like, I think it was like a Pringles tube, and then I glued all of the little stones like they were like bits of slate, and I wanted it to have like a broken door that was kind of hanging off, but I also wanted some slit windows in it to look quite sort of medieval-y. So I put like a string hanging down from a piece of wood as well with a noose on it and put a bit of blood on that. And then if we have a look up, you'll see what I made this tower for. So it was for the Gargoyle that came with the original Dark Souls box set. I just thought he looked too cool, so it's kind of ruined the piece for the game now because we can't use them to play anymore because we've covered the bases of them in so much stuff. But we kind of wanted the models more to paint them than play the board game, to be honest, and I don't really understand the rules that much, so for us this was worth it, you know? So the tower's got like a spiral staircase which goes up and all the way around up to the top, and I've kind of made the fence all broken. And then I wanted some silver knights on it because I thought they looked cool, so I've given them a wall to stand on top of, like a kind of castle wall walkway type thing. Made a few boxes and painted up the wing knight. I thought he looked quite good on here as well. And coming down from the silver knights, I've made a broken staircase where I've just kind of put loads of bits of moss and scattered some stones down there as well, so it looks sort of dilapidated, you know, like it's crumbled over the years. Now we've got the wood spiked walls. You've got to have some wood spiked walls, haven't you? And I bought these little set of skeletons off eBay, and so I thought we could like use those in our dioramas, so I put them impaled on a spike down here and a little brazier. This I had so much fun with. Like I said, these were our first two dioramas and we had such a blast making them. We were up until God knows what time. Time just flew by. So the next one I made was like my interpretation of Anor Londo from Dark Souls 1, because obviously Dark Souls 1 because Ornstein and Smo are in here. So I've made this out of cardboard, XPS foam, and I did use some like car body filler as well on it to fill some bits in. So we've got our tower knights, and I used some toothpicks for the spikes, and then like I had like some buckles and stuff that I'd taken off old clothes, so I used them for part of the fence. And I gave them both their own little podium at the front here, and then made a staircase in the middle going up to Ornstein and Smo. Now Smo's hammer, this has happened apparently to a lot of people with the board game. The Smo's hammer just kind of droops. I've tried so many things to keep it upright, but it's just not working. He's got a flaccid hammer. And then I wanted to go for like the marble floor that they have in their boss room. So I've tried to kind of recreate that with paint and then varnished over the top of it. And I wanted their bases to kind of match the floor underneath. So these bricks are made from XPS foam and the pillars are just straws with chainmail links at the bottom. We've got our silver knights, our archers at the top here, obligatory, obviously. They are dicks. We've all had some experiences with these guys. It's always hit or miss, even now, having played Dark Souls 1 so many times. It's always hit or miss whether I'm going to get past them or not, you know. So with the bricks that you're seeing in the background of him, they are actually cardboard, but I used some of that sprinkling moss stuff that you can get, like, you know, that turf texture. I put super glue in just certain sections and then sprinkled the moss just to give it a bit of texture. I would have liked for this to have been more perfect. It's a little bit, like you can see from the windows and stuff where I've like had to use wire and it's slightly bent. I would have preferred this to be more perfect because Anor Londo is perfect in Dark Souls 1, so it is a shame that I did this in the early days, but I'm still quite happy with how it turned out. You can see on the top of that pillar there as well, I've used like a push pin that you use on them cork boards and just stuck that on the top. I think it looked quite cool. So that is my interpretation of Anor Londo in a diorama. I hope you liked it. There will be some more coming, so keep an eye out for them in the playlist. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day and take care.